George, it wasn't that long ago that we were all sweating over the fitness of another striker, Wayne Rooney, but now England really do have something to worry about. Michael Owen, the man who as a teenager set the World Cup alight with that wonderful goal against Argentina, is out of the World Cup. Michael Owen on crutches and on his way back to Britain. His World Cup dreams shattered. Today a scan revealed that he'd ruptured the anterior cruciate ligament in his right knee after barely a minute of England's game against Sweden. Owen's out and Wayne Rooney still isn't fully fit. He was substituted yesterday, much to his frustration. Still, Sven insists England can cope with this crisis in attack.
We have Walcott, which we haven't seen on the pitch yet. And then we have many players who can take that role. We have Hugh Cole, we have Steven Gerrard.
But Michael Owen is England's most prolific goal scorer. And as he left Germany, plenty of fans will be wondering if he's taken their hopes of winning the World Cup with him. And I can tell you that in the last few minutes, Michael Owen has landed at Chester Airport. He'll now go home and doctors will have to wait until the swelling has gone down on his knee before deciding when and whether to operate. But for the England players back here, they now have to forget all about Michael Owen and concentrate instead on that last 16 knockout match against Ecuador on Sunday.
With Michael Owen out of the picture, can England still win the World Cup? Do we have a good enough team without him? Maybe you think even with Owen, we didn't have much of a chance.
Yes, let us know what you think about this one, please.
Over now to Mike Hall in Baden-Baden, where England have their training camp. Mike, with the loss of Michael Owen this week and England not exactly being blessed with strikers out there in Germany, I suppose this puts even more pressure on the young shoulders of Wayne Rooney.
That's right, Chris. We're so fortunate, aren't we, that Wayne Rooney has recovered from that broken metatarsal. Because as you say, with Michael Owen now gone, with Peter Crouch relatively inexperienced at this level, and with Theo Walcott yet to play at international level, the whole nation is once again pinning its hopes on Wayne Rooney to deliver goals. Now, he may have played less than 2 hours of football since April, but there are still many, many people here in Germany who believe Rooney is about to make a big, big impact on this World Cup.
You know, he's not fully fit yet, but even not fully fit, he gives us different angles. He encourages us to play the ball more to feet. He's always available for the midfielders. I mean, the guy's a genius, basically, and it is brilliant to see him back. And we really, I think that is one of the main reasons for optimism, that we can start to improve quickly, is that as Rooney gets fitter, you know, he's going to make a massive difference to us.
But to be perfectly honest, if England are going to win the World Cup, Rooney is still the key.
How would you assess England's performances to date?
We won the group, and that was the most important thing. I know that we can play better football, but I think for every game we played a little bit better.
David, have you been happy with your own personal performance so far in this World Cup, or do you think there's room for improvement?
To be honest, I'm not set up here to discuss about my own performance. You know, I think there's agendas out there. We've got our agendas, I've got my agenda. My agenda is to win the World Cup for this team, and I'm not set up here to discuss my own form. That's for you guys to do.
Here's Beckham. One great cross from the England skipper.
It does seem a bit harsh to criticise Beckham's form. England have made much in Germany from his right foot, and he may have been quiet against Sweden, but remember this 60-yard pass straight on to Rooney's toe? The captain's players won't have any of it.
It really does surprise me, all the talk, and I think many times it's easy to single Bex out because the player he is. You know, the high profile he is. You know, sometimes the team doesn't play well, and he's the one who gets singled out, which isn't fair at all. He's been playing very well. We look at our goals; they've all come from Bex. You know, from his crosses, his play, his passing. He's been fantastic so far.
It's not like he's not used to being in the spotlight, but if he's getting irritated with the critics, he'd shut them up with a match-winning performance against Ecuador.
Well, what's the mood in the England camp like at the moment?
It's good. I mean, you know, it's. I think everyone accepts we've got to try and get a 90-minute performance, but more than anything, it's very positive. We've got to the stage where we want to, go to Stuttgart. It's just a coach trip for this particular game, last 16 at the start of the tournament. Yes, would have settled to play Ecuador.
Sven, first of all, could you tell me, are there any latest injury concerns?
The concern is Gary Neville. He will be on the bench, but he's not ready for the game.
Can I take it from that Rio is fit and ready to play in the starting lineup?
He did everything, and is available, yeah.
It's very hot out there. Will the heat determine your starting lineup at all?
No, it will not.
With the temperature in Stuttgart likely to approach 100 degrees Fahrenheit, Sven insists his team are mentally and physically prepared for the challenge.
All in our camp are extremely inspired by tomorrow. We know that we have a good team. We know that we have a good chance to go a long way in this World Cup. And
it had been a great World Cup day. Stuttgart's central square, a sea of German support. One corner given over to boisterous singing England fans. It went wrong when the German game finished. Where the road narrows down here on the right, celebrating Germans had to leave the square past England supporters. For half an hour it was rowdy but fine, and then this. We were 20 yards away from the flashpoint. It seemed the first chairs and bottles were thrown by German supporters. Some England fans responded, others tried to calm things down.
The German fans were moving past a corner of the main square where English supporters had been drinking all day. Amidst mutual taunting, it appears a plastic chair was first thrown from the German side. An exchange of chairs soon followed. German police had been stationed nearby and moved very quickly to separate the two sides. With officers in riot gear between them, rival fans seemed content to chant and exchange insults. Police on horseback slowly moved the German fans away, at the same time quietly putting a cordon of officers right around the group of 200 to 300 England fans who've been making most noise.
And quickly large numbers of riot police brought in to try and control the confrontation.
It's now about maybe 3/4 of an hour since the first trouble started. The riot police have divided the England supporters who are here on the steps and the German supporters who are still filing out. Now, while we've been stood here, bottles are still coming in from the German side.
All they've done is thrown bottles over, everything, bunging chairs constantly. It's well out of order.
So the police come here straight away facing us. So they've come in facing us. Everyone's still launching things over.
And on the German side of this body-armoured line, anger as well.
They talk about bombers, about Germany, Second War. And so we sing.
And then another flashpoint, more bottle and glass throwing from both sides. A charge as the square is cleared, open fighting between German supporters and the police. As night fell, the police effort shifted to the England supporters, snatch squads and arrests. The state police chief here said both sides were to blame. Too much alcohol, he said, and too much aggression throughout the day.
The police are now taking out these England fans one by one. It is certainly their intention that none of the supporters picked up here should be out of custody before the game tomorrow. A brawl, not a riot, a police chief described it, and most of these arrests are preventive in nature. It's unlikely most of these fans will ever be charged. But for the first time in this World Cup, the police have decided that rowdy and offensive behaviour, even if it falls short of violence, will not be tolerated. James Mates, ITV News, Stuttgart.
Well, as for the England team, they still have a lot to prove in this World Cup. Tomorrow, Ecuador, of course, are their opponents as they try to make it through to the quarter-finals. Here's our sports correspondent, Geraint Vincent.
Man in the middle. With just a handful of international caps, Michael Carrick hasn't spent a great deal of time in the England team, but he's the player Sven's called on to make England tick against Ecuador tomorrow. Carrick will play the holding midfield role, allowing his fellow midfielders Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard to get further forward and support the boy wonder, who's expected to play on his own up front. Halfway through this tournament, and England's formations and personnel seem to be in a constant state of flux, and that's because on the eve of what could be his last game in charge, Sven-Göran Eriksson is starting to roll the dice.
Already into the quarter-finals of the two former winners, Germany and Argentina. Can England become the third by beating Ecuador? Well, it really is a sweltering day in Stuttgart. The players have just come out of the dressing room to start their warm-up. There they are. Seem a little bit reluctant to go out, but it is sweltering in the sun out there today. Reports of over 30 degrees in the stadium, but here in Germany it will be a 5 o'clock kick-off, of course, so hopefully it'll start to cool down. and the players will be in shade.
Well, we're just going to pause now and enjoy the atmosphere again. England fans have been doing their darndest to get tickets. Many of them have succeeded. There are many more outside and in the city squares. And of course, millions of you back at home. And those who have got tickets, and they were selling for £350 on the black market this morning here in Stuttgart, are preparing to give the team a really good welcome as we reach this knockout stage when, as Alan Ball was saying, there's no safety net now. David Beckham, who coincidentally hasn't scored in his last 12 internationals, maybe he's due a goal today. For England, it's Ashley Cole's 50th cap. Hargreaves plays on the opposite flank. De La Cruz of Aston Villa at right back. And the former Southampton man, Agustin Delgado, up front.
Filling the centre of Stuttgart, upwards of 40,000 ticketless England fans watching on 3 giant screens. They'd come hoping for a straightforward victory, but England, as ever here, didn't make it easy for them.
Nothing given.
I think he knocked at least one of them over. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, sparged into the back of it.
Oh, it's a free kick on just outside the area.
Yeah, I think Lampard trying to go through the middle of 2 defenders this time. Have a freak in his favour.
Now, as those two get ready, David Beckham has a free kick. And Beckham! Stuttgart, England take the lead in the knockout stage of the World Cup.
Well, it's a long time in coming, John, but it's a brilliant free kick.
David Beckham scores his first England goal in 13 games and his first of a free kick for over 3 years. What a moment to produce a Beckham special.
And it's delayed the substitution because the manager straight out said, no, we'll wait now. We've got the lead. We can afford to be patient.
And the England supporters, well, they never expect an easy passage with this team, but it's a winning passage so far. A quarter-final looms against Holland or Portugal, who meet tonight. And Rio Ferdinand there, I think, outstanding, Mark.
Yes, I think so, John.
And they go through to the last 8. Beckham the scorer. England 1, Ecuador 0.
How much fitter do you feel?
Yeah, I think I've worked hard to get my fitness up, and you know it's paying off now. You know, hopefully, you know that can continue, and you know I can get a goal soon.
How did the system work? Did it work?
As I say, first half it was a bit cagey. You know, you could say it maybe never worked first half, but I think second half it worked really good. I thought me and Frank got up there and supported Wayne really well, and you know if that final pass was just a little bit better than the final third, we could have won 2 or 3 today.
How much you take from today's performance? How much you need to improve still?
There's always room for improvement. I mean, a lot of people say, how are you feeling about the criticism the team's getting? Listen, the boys will criticise ourselves a lot more than what the media would, so where we put pressure on ourselves to do well. Anyone else's criticism outside that is probably not as much as what we do ourselves. We're all self-analytical and we make sure we want to perform and improve on our performances.
Now, how much did the team believe?
We've always believed. It's just a case of putting it into a game, and we've done that. You know, we've done it at times, and we have to do it again.
As the thousands filed away from both the fan fest and the stadium, they were happy, but not satisfied.
Winning the next round is the main thing, isn't it? Lucky to get through. 1-0 all the way to the final. That's all we can do. No strikers to score goals.
Got the 1-0, didn't we? So all that matters at the end of the day. No one remembers this when we're in the final.
It may not have been pretty. Every one of these fans will have seen better games, but they won't care. From their point of view, it's job done. They're in the quarter-finals. They're not going home. A torrential thunderstorm over Stuttgart tonight sent all but the hardiest fans scurrying indoors. The police here could not have asked for anything better. James Mates, ITV News, Stuttgart.